Hi, everybody. I'm Paul. You may know me from my Curious Corners of Controversy if you're a repeat customer. If not, welcome to the corner. Well, you might go to other corners for other various things drugs, prostitutes, midget porn, whatever you're into. I don't judge. Yes, I do. But, anyways, back to the topic at hand. Today on my Curious Corner of Controversy, we're going to be talking about my all time, probably favorite thing ever, which I wish there was so much more of and there isn't. Futurama. Futurama has been my, I don't know, favorite animated, just favorite thing in general as far as shows go as an adult for a long time. But I remember first watching it when it aired. I don't know if I watched them in order or anything, but I remember watching them when I was a little kid and they were fucking hilarious. And I grew up on The Simpsons, and my 14 to 24 age period, that 10 years, I was big into Family Guy, but it all kind of became the same jokes recycled over and over throughout the different, Family Guy, Simpsons, American Dad. It's all scenarios that get recycled, just like most of our movies and games and everything in general. But Futurama has this ability to, because it's in the future, and a sci-fi future no less, they can just do so much more than the typical animated shows that we have. Like I said earlier, Family Guy, Futurama, Family Guy, Simpsons, and whatnot, because they're grounded in somewhat the real world, and they kind of have certain things they obey, whether or not, Family Guy goes into the random 2-minute Peter versus chicken fight that goes all over the fucking world and back again for no reason, and there's all that kind of crazy stuff. But Futurama being set in a futuristic world, there's just more possibilities and more fun, which we'll get to. So I guess to start, we'll start at the beginning. Futurama was named after a 1939 New York World's Fair exhibit of the same name that was created by Norman Bell Gaddis, and it was presented to be the possible future 20 years from then. So 1959, which obviously wasn't the case. Futurama follows the misadventures of a lackluster, fired-haired, early 20s pizza delivery boy named Philip J. Fry. After getting accidentally cryogenically frozen for 1,000 years, Fry wakes up in the new and crazy world of the 31st century. Fry ends up working for his great something 1,000 years in the future nephew as an interplanetary delivery boy, so it is an upgrade from pizza delivery boy, but so that's the plot, loosely. The deliveries are always just these crazy suicide missions that make no sense, and the Professor Farnsworth, which is Fry's great something nephew, has this way of entering the room with "good news, everybody," but it's always terrible, life-threatening, horrific, pain involving news that he calls good. The show's great. It's just, like I said, there's humor everywhere you look. There's stuff peppered in the background. It's an amazing show. It was created by Matt Groening in the mid-90s, or that's when it was conceived, in the mid-90s. And over a few years while working on The Simpsons, he developed it more, and later on brought in David X. Cohen to help develop the storyline and characters more. David X. Cohen and Matt Groening, everybody knows them. Groening, The Simpsons, it's been going on for 30 years now, something like that. Beavis and Butthead, I believe Groening does. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. But it's just an amazing series, and every part about it is amazing. The animation, the story writing, the voice casting. The voice casting is just some of the all-stars of voice acting out there. Billy West, who's been doing voice acting for something like 20 years, is numerous voices on the show, which most of the cast were, besides Tress MacNeille, who plays Mom, who is on the outward appearance, loving mother, grandmother figure that everybody borderline worships in the Futurama world, but secretly is the evil conglomerate, money-hungry fuel monger. Billy West, he does Fry, Professor Farnsworth, Dr. Zoidberg, Zap Brannigan, who was originally intended for Phil Hartman, but if you know the story about that, he was tragically killed. So Billy West did a really good, interpretation of Phil Hartman's performance, which is much like The Simpsons. Troy McClure was one of my all-time favorite Simpsons characters. Katie Seagal, Leela, who most of us remember as the gorgeous ditzy Peggy Bundy from Married with Children, and later on from the gritty Sons of Anarchy. She's amazing in everything she does. And in Futurama, she's Leela, who is Fry's main love interest throughout the entire series. She's originally thought to be alien Cyclops, but turns out to be a mutant who lives in the sewers, which it's a whole another story. But then we also have John DiMaggio, who does Bender Bending Rodriguez, which is Fry's best friend, who he originally applied for the professor's gig, but used Bender's voice. But, how things work out, they end up switching things around, whichever fits better. Phil Lamar as Hermes Conrad and his son Dwight, and also Reverend Preacherbot. Lauren Tom does Amy Wong and also Inez, her mother, and Jur, which is Lur, his wife, who are awesome aliens from another planet. I believe it's Omicron Persei 8, if I remember correctly. Maurice LaMarche voiced Lur, Kif Kroker, and several other supporting characters, and he also won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Voiceover Performance in 2011 for his performances of Lur and Orson Welles in the episode Lur Conceivable Nindifferences. If you haven't figured it out, Lur and Jur are spelled L-R-R-R-R and J-R-R-R-R. So there's a lot of little funny things with like their spellings in certain episodes and stuff like that. One of the big things about Futurama is at the time it had some of the most advanced animation going on. Each episode from beginning to air was about a year process. Usually they would work on the story and punch that out, and then animation would sometimes be done overseas, then come back and forth, blah, 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 blah. The only thing that kind of saved the day, otherwise I would be waiting yearly for every Futurama episode and would have to live to, I believe, I think there were 100 episodes roughly. But I'd have to wait a year for everyone, and I gladly would, because I would just rewatch all the episodes to lead up to it. But luckily, they worked on multiple episodes at a time, so they were able to pump it out. But like I said, there was some of the most advanced animation for the time, and when they got re-picked up the few times they did due to being canceled from their original launch from 1999, they were canceled in 2003 due to poor time slots. They kind of got put on a crap time slot, and as great as the show was, it was kind of overshadowed, or the main crowd that it was intended for were usually out partying on Friday nights when it aired, I believe was the case. 2007, they kind of came back, not on TV, but for a 4-movie straight-to-release series, which were all fantastic. They ended up breaking them up for syndication into a 4-part series. And they were Bender's Game, Bender's Big Score, Beast with a Billion Backs, and Into the Wild Green Yonder. They're all amazing. My absolute favorite is Bender's Game, because Bender, through a fucking random mix of circumstances, Bender realized he doesn't have an imagination because he's a robot, and ends up playing Dungeons and Dragons, and other situations cause the whole crew to get sucked into Bender's Dungeons and Dragons mind-loving world, and it is fantastic because I'm a huge fucking nerd. I want to play D&D so bad, but I don't have the fucking time, or time, basically. I don't have fucking time. It's 2:20 a.m. right now when we recorded this video, because that's the kind of schedule we live here. But D&D is something I love. I listen to way too many podcasts to hear other nerds, and I mean that with like the purest endearment. When I say nerd, I mean I fucking love you on a molecular level. Just keep that in mind if I ever call you a nerd. If I call you a turd, that's the opposite. I'm using a childish name for you because that's all you're fucking worth. But anyways, back to this. Wow, that was a fucking angry tangent. Sorry about that. Futurama. I fucking love it. Bender's game. There's Lord of the Rings references. It's just great. It's fantastic. There's a few key things given away, which were always kind of hinted in the overall storyline involving Farnsworth and Mom. But it's Bender's game is probably like one of the most watched movies or group of episodes I watch. I've literally turned that on at night half the time and just start it and watch it and laugh my fucking ass off until I fall asleep. Beast with the Billion Backs is good. It's got David Cross as the Beast with the Billion Backs. If you don't know who David Cross is, you're missing out. He is an amazing comedian who's been around for 30 years. He was on Mr. Show with Bob and Dave. He was one of the tech developers and toy soldiers, small soldiers, toys. I don't know, the one where the toys come to life with the Gorgons and the soldiers, that one. He's hilarious, and he's an intergalactic other planar squid who's screwing the entire planet with his tentacles. It's kind of weird, but funny. And gives everybody an intergalactic clap or something like that. Again, you know, they were canceled. They were brought back by Comedy Central for a short 2-year stint from 2009 to 11. They were syndicated numerous times with Adult Swim, Comedy Central, and the Sci-Fi Channel, and they air all the time. I honestly don't know how many times I've watched all of the episodes. You can call me a bad parent, but fuck you. I let my son watch it, and it is amazing to watch him laugh at all the funny, silly sci-fi shenanigans that they get into. There's a few episodes I steer away from due to, you know, some of the riskier topics, but that show is amazing, and one of my favorite things to do is to hang out and watch it with my son. He sleeps every night with a Nibbler stuffed animal, and I'd have that with me, but I couldn't pry it out of his arms when I left tonight. I also, one of my prized possessions my wife got me is a Futurama hoodie that is like hyper realistic with the Planet Express flying off of it, and the background is just like randomly generated awesome cosmos, but it's got so much green in it, editing it would be a fucking nightmare if I wrote it or wore it. So tier, I don't have it. I wish you guys could see the amazingness that it is. So with Futurama, a lot of people don't realize it, but they had probably... I'll read a quote real quick. So, series writer Patrick M. Vernon stated, "We were easily the most overeducated cartoon writers in history. Together, the writing staff held 3 PhDs and 7 master's degrees and a cumulative 50 plus years at Harvard University. These guys were geniuses on many levels. For one, their humor hits on so many levels. Like, every time I watch it, I'm either understanding something for the first time because I'm dumb, or I'm catching something I didn't catch before, or it just clicks. You know, there's sometimes where you hear it and just doesn't connect, but every time I watch that show, there's something I still laugh at. And it's always, you know, I don't want to say highbrow humor because it's not, but it's educated humor. There's levels to it that if you want to read into it, you can. They had language experts come up with, I want to say 2 or 3 different alien languages that they use in advertisements in the backgrounds that super nerds analyzed and figured out all their little messages. One of the theories, I can't remember the episode title, but it's Farnsworth messes with time, so time's skipping around. They end up enlisting the help of the Harlem Globetrotters, who are all physicists and scientists, to come up with this crazy theory. It turns out that theory was a real mathematical theory that one of said writers put together and is now a proper scientific theory that was written for a goddamn adult cartoon show. So, like, to say that the show is underrated is a fucking understatement and then some. Like I said, it's my favorite thing ever, as like, not ever, like my son and wife are there too, but Futurama, if it was a person encapsulated in a thing, we would hang out, we would be best buds. It'd be like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Joe Rogan, Brian Cox, Sean Carroll, and Dave Chappelle rolled into one. That would be amazing. If you don't know who 3 of those people are, I'm sorry for you. That's Brian Cox, Sean Carroll, and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Look them up. They will change your puny little mind. Or at least mine. I'm trying to understand quantum mechanics right now. It is not working. Then the show has been nominated like several times. They've been nominated for 17 Annie Awards. They've won 7. They've been nominated for 12 Emmys and won 6. They've been nominated 4 times for the Writers Guild of America Award, winning for episodes Godfellas and The Prisoner of Binda. It was nominated for the Nebula Award and received Environmental Media Awards for the episode The Problem with Poplars and the Futurama Holiday Spectacular. The Problem with Poplars is a great episode where the gang land on a weird alien planet and end up finding these little delicious nuggets of goodness that turn out to be the alien offspring of the offspring of the alien species from Omicron Persei 8, the Omicronians, I believe they call them. And if you've seen Idiocracy, that's kind of the world that Futurama falls into. It's just, if America from Idiocracy took over the world, is basically what Futurama is, and us being the people, humans we are, just kind of buy everything without thinking about it. So when they start, taking these offspring and shoving them through their version of an intergalactic McDonald's, they become the number 1 selling thing around, but it turns out it's the offspring of another species, which most people don't care about unless that species has some kind of level of intelligence and consciousness, which, tomato. I'm a meat eater, so, I'm a 2nd generation vegetarian. Everything I eat, 8 vegetables. I just happen to eat them, so take it as you want it. If you haven't watched Futurama, you're really doing yourself a disservice. If you don't like science fiction or comedy or nerd shit, why the fuck are you watching me? That's all I am. If you're not watching me, you should anyways. Just do it. But it's a great show. Like, the characters play so well off of one another, from Dr. Zoidberg, who's the idiot crab lobster human doctor who knows nothing about human anatomy and basically does more damage than fixing, but you love him. Especially, there's one episode where Francis Clampazzo, he basically replaces Zoidberg, and Zoidberg gets jealous and finally fucking snaps one day, and they end up getting in a fight. Zoidberg flips out and just goes, "The name's John fucking Zoidberg!" And I fucking love it. Like, Zoidberg is a champ. He's the fucking downtrodden underdog who gets shit on for every single episode, but he's altruistic, he's a kind-hearted person, crab monster being, and he literally just loves his friends, And that one fucking moment, he's a badass. Besides the episode where him and Fry are trying, well, Fry's not trying to screw her, but they're both competing for the affections of another crab monster like Zoidberg. And Zoidberg basically roid rages out with testosterone and goes nuts, and it's awesome. But long story short with that, their writing staff are amazing. They've done spectacular things. Every episode has these little log lines at the beginning of each episode, which some of them are just funny, but all of them have some kind of weight to them. My all-time favorite one, which just absolutely sums up the show for me, is just because it's not real doesn't mean it won't happen. Like, that's the show. It's in the future. In the future, any fucking thing can happen. Right now, we've only discovered how much of our known universe, and as sci-fi and far out as the show is, I understand 99.9% of it will never happen, or not in my lifetime. But if 1% of Futurama happens, hopefully it's the fun parts. It'll be awesome. Like, I want to go visit the head museum where all the president's heads are in jars, where if you know the trick of licking the liquid, you can trip back in time. I don't know who does the voice, but Nixon in Futurama is amazing. He's just the head in the jar, and he's got a robotic body, which is the headless body of Agnew, and it somehow gurrs and growls even though it doesn't have a head. But Nixon is amazing. He's fucking Nixon. Kick him when they're down. That's my style. I feel a jowl movement coming on. Like, Nixon is amazing in the show, and he's fucking peppered throughout it. He starts a band. He gets a giant destroyer robotic body. Like, he is amazing. Some of the best episodes, both in my opinion and also kind of ranked and acclaimed, would be my all-time, not favorite, but like moments I wholeheartedly identify with Fry, is the episode 300 Big Boys. The whole planet is cut a tax rebate check from the government for $300, and everybody spends their money in different ways. I can't remember what Leela gets. I think she gets new boots because she's fucking Leela. Amy gets a new talking tattoo that talks shit to Kif, who buys her a trip to the aquarium and blah blah blah. Fry, on the other hand, buys 100 cups of coffee. Now, I am a coffee fiend, fanatic, addict, some might say. I've had my caffeine withdrawals before. They are not fun. The old rule of thumb at my old job was if I didn't have a cup of coffee within reach, there's something wrong with me. Because that's my jam. I wake up and drink coffee, and I go to sleep after drinking coffee. Like, Fry hits 100 cups of coffee and turns into the Flash. And saves the day. And I'll leave it at that. Coffee's amazing. I haven't done 100 cups in one day yet. I've done 3 pots of coffee in a day before. So average pot of coffee is 8 cups. That's 24 cups of coffee. A quarter way there. No Flash, just a fucking severe crash. But another great episode. The Day the Earth Stood Stupid. Intergalactic giant floating brains that consume knowledge come to Earth and basically start wreaking havoc and making everybody really dumb. Fry is somehow immune to this because he's from the year 2000 and is the only hope. And now you finally see this long, not con, but this long-going story arc where Nibbler, all innocent and cute despite his ridiculous eating habits, because he literally could eat an entire zoo in a sitting, and he has, which has come up in an episode or two. Him and his species turn out to be severely intelligent and are kind of like the Watchers of the Universe. And they, spoiler, inadvertently reveal that they are the ones responsible for Fry being sent or Fry being frozen and thus being put into the future because they knew that he was immune to the giant brains who absorbed all the knowledge and whatnot. Again, Fry saves the day. Nobody really remembers, and if they do, they don't care because it's Fry, the lovable fuck up who, despite how much he tries for Leela's affection, it's like, I think like 7 or 8 seasons before she finally gives him a chance. Which, I don't know, if you're the underdog, you feel the pain, but it's a happy ending. They fall in love. It's beautiful. The last episode with them is pretty spectacular. I don't know, it's a cycle, and it really shows that I don't want to be the romantic, but I am married. I do love my wife. I plan to be with her for the rest of my life. There's certain things just kind of line up, and they do a great job at conveying to the audience. If you've seen the fucking Jurassic Park episode about the dog, you've probably cried over the episode. Maybe. If not, you don't have a heart. Which is fine. I try not to have one besides the 2 little beats that I do. But that episode is harsh. Fry kind of, I don't want to say he forgets about everything he left behind because he really did hate his life when he was frozen and sent into the future. But the one good thing he had was his pet dog, Seymour. The dog waited outside for him at his job at Mr. Panucci's, or Panuccio's, I want to say it's Panucci's, pizzeria, where Fry worked, and it was Fry's only affection, friend, anything in the world. And when Fry got frozen, he never came back. And that's one thing the show finally kind of... There's a few episodes that do it, but they show what his family went through, because literally, to him, he got to leave all the bullshit behind and start a fresh new life. But to his family, and mainly Seymour, there was no closure to what happened to him. Fry just disappeared one day and never came back. And in that episode, you literally watch his dog Seymour, you watch him sit outside and wait and wither away until he finally gets covered in a volcanic explosion and solidified in molten rock, and thus they are debating on whether or not they should clone him and bring him back to life and this, that, and the other. But through that episode, they really show you, like I said, just like the other end of that spectrum. You see Fry's happiness as he slowly realizes everything he left behind. Another episode that explores that is The Luck of the Fryish, which Fry finds out that, or thinks he finds out that his dickish brother kind of stole his identity to become a great explorer and all kinds of other great things in life, philanthropist, all that jazz, only to find out that his heartbroken brother named his son after Fry and paid homage to him, and his nephew Fry ended up becoming a great person, which way down the road is the great grandfather of Farnsworth. So they do this great cyclical and kind of like literally tie loose ends from 1,000 years apart together. Roswell That Ends Well is a great episode that explores the grandfather paradox in a different direction. If you don't know what the grandfather paradox is, that's the paradox of time travel, where if you go back in time, you affect time somehow, affecting your parents or grandparents, thus affecting you never being born. Only this time, Fry goes back in time, kills his grandfather, and fucks his grandmother to make himself. Following along? Okay, good. That episode is just, I don't know, it's fantastic. And it's one of those episodes that really just encompasses all that Futurama is. You know, it's got so many straws coming out of the classic 1940s, 1960s Roswell alien scares that, of the world started facing then. And then it literally has all these outlandish, homages to Alien, 2001 Space Odyssey, Blade Runner, Terminator, everything. You think of something sci-fi and they pay tribute to it and honor it or poke fun at it in an amazing way. And like I said, every time I watch it, I find something new to laugh at, or something that I didn't catch before, or just a fresh look every time. I don't think there's a bad episode, as that's a biased opinion. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very biased when it comes to things I like, which who doesn't, but whatever. It's a great show. If you haven't watched it, you're killing yourself, and the amount of laughs that you're missing out on. I'm sure if you're on Facebook or any kind of social media, you've seen a million memes with Fry like, "Shut up and give me my money," which is from the episode where everybody gets new iPhones, but instead of it being a physical iPhone, it's a fucking chip that they drive into your eye, which is hilarious. They have an episode where they kind of make fun of the Matrix, where instead of going online, you literally enter the Matrix basically to go online, and it's hilarious. There's, the pop-up ads and all the weird porn and all the jokes that happens from the birth of fucking internet, but it's great. Earlier I mentioned the log lines. Every episode has one. Like I said, my absolute favorite, which sums up the show for me, is just because it's not real doesn't mean it won't happen. That, like I said, it sums up the show. There's so many possibilities, and I think that's why after every episode, it's still funny. There's still new jokes that they can come up with, because it's taking most sitcoms, most are basically driven in a typical household or regular ordinary day life. A lot of them from the 90s especially, had that typical family where it was husband, wife, kids, whatever, whether or not the marriage had problems. It's always, for the most part, those kind of things. Besides like Friends and all the other sitcoms where it was friends or a group of people having to deal with one another. Futurama does a job of building a family with individuals, but also exploring all these different side paths and side characters and just outlandish, amazing things. And I don't know. I don't think they'll ever be something as loved by me as far as the series goes. I've tried watching, or I haven't tried. I have watched Disenchantment. Yeah. I like it. It's funny, but it just doesn't have the same feel. I know they're trying. Season 2 is better, but I don't know. I really hope Futurama comes back in some form. There's been comic books, video games, and all kinds of other stuff. There's been years ago, there were talks of a possible feature-length film, theatrical style release, but I don't think that'll ever happen. There's always hope that it could be revived. All the actors, for the most part, voice actors at least, are still voice acting. There's hope, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. I hope it does. Like I said, that's one of my favorite things. It will literally, at some point, I'll have a collage, probably on my left thigh, that's just going to be a fucking collage of all the crazy shit I love from Futurama. The one thing I do have planned is Zoidberg running away from the headless body of Agnew with Nixon's head in his mouth, and Goldbender fighting Silverbender, or regular Bender. But those are the only two things I have planned, but it's going to be fun. And I'm also going to have Rick and Morty in there for fun, which we'll get to a Rick and Morty episode, because that's a show that's still ongoing despite the fact that it's just, one season every 5 or 6 years. But God, are those seasons good. Close second to Futurama. But I don't know, guys. Futurama's awesome. If you haven't watched it, you should. I'm just going to leave you with a few of the log lines that are some of my favorites. Any resemblance of actual future is purely coincidental, not a substitute for human interaction, soon to be a major religion, painstakingly drawn before a live audience. A show out of ideas teams up with a show out of episodes. And my absolute favorite, a show for the sophisticated shut-in. Thanks, guys. This has been my episode on Futurama. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, find something else, I guess. Love you. Till then, stay devious. Remember all of our partners. We have Respawn Energy Drinks, and we also have Microsoft to thank for all of our little goodies. Till then, stay devious. Let there be controversy. Coming up, we are going to be doing some movie and film reviews, whatever you want to call these corners, and all kinds of other fun and interesting stuff. Hope you guys liked it. See ya.